Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second annual The New York Times Food for Tomorrow Conference. Please welcome Sam Sifton, Food Editor, New York Times, and Charles Duhigg, Senior Editor for Conferences and Live Journalism, New York Times.
Thank you. I love that disembodied voice. So I'm gonna repeat something. Both Charles and I want to welcome you to this now second annual Food for Tomorrow conference. And the New York Times is happy to bring it to you. We're really pleased that you've joined us on this beautiful day in this beautiful place, and we're excited to start. We've got 2 days of onstage journalism, the discussion of food, the discussion of the future of food, and we hope that whatever happens up here on the stage, there's a lot of talk off stage as well. You'll be hearing this morning from Mark Bittman, who's here to talk to us about how to think intelligently about food that is both healthy and affordable, and about the national food policies that we need to make that reality available to all. You'll be hearing from my colleague Michael Moss on Big Food's attempts to become healthy, in part because healthy food startups and disruptors, some of them here, are beginning to eat their lunch. And Tom Colicchio will be releasing the results of a new poll from his Foreign Policy Action team later this morning on American voters' opinions and perceptions of food and food issues as we move forward into this presidential election year. And that is just before lunch. Representative Chellie Pingree is here from the great state of Maine, and she will introduce this afternoon a new proposal for food waste. And speaking of food waste, we'll eat a little bit of that for dinner tonight, courtesy of the great Dan Barber and his Blue Hill team, who have been so terrific to work with this morning and for weeks now, to tell you the truth. There are farmers here, there are chefs here, there are journalists here, and we are eager to get you all thick on the ground talking to one another. Before we get started, though, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Charles Duhigg. Charles is the senior editor at the Times in charge of conferences and what we now call live journalism. That's what's happening here today, and Charles is going to talk to you a little bit about it.
Thanks, Sam. And thank you all to you for coming today. Oh, thanks. This is, for those of you who were here last year or those of you who are new, you know that this is an incredibly special event. And one of the reasons why we at the Times think it's so special is because it sort of shows and embodies our commitment to live journalism. Our intent is to move what we're doing out of the pages and off of the telephones into settings like this, to draw in a community like you, to start conversations, to expand conversations that allow us to share with the world what important work is going on, what news is happening that they should be aware of. And I mention that all as a way of encouraging you to please dialogue with each other, have conversations with us, tell us what is interesting to you. Please be a part of this conversation that we're having on the stage and off the stage, because what we're doing today and tomorrow will influence how the newspaper thinks about food, how we cover food, how Sam's section writes about food, and hopefully, therefore, what the world is thinking and the priorities of the globe in terms of what the future should be like. I did want to thank our sponsors who have made today possible, including S2G Ventures, which is Seed to Growth, Campbell's, which has been enormously generous, Coca-Via, the Cornell Douglas Foundation, and the Rockefeller Foundation. And of course, thank our hosts who have made this beautiful facility available to us, the Blue Hill at Stone Barns. I have to say this is the best conference breakfast I've ever had in my entire life. I think you guys probably agree. And with that, let me go ahead and introduce Jill Eisen.